So, hey everybody, welcome back to the No Cover TV podcast. Thank you, each and every one of you, checking out the podcast. Look who's next to me. BlackTop Gypzy's in the house. Greg's joining us. We got a lot to chat about with Greg today and BlackTop Gypzy. But first, I got to BS all you just a little bit. I want to thank each and every one of you for checking out the No Cover TV podcast. All these great visual shows that are on YouTube and Facebook. These are live right now on Facebook and YouTube. So check them out, and they always will stay on YouTube. So go up to that corner up there in YouTube. Hit subscribe so you can stay updated on all the great shows that are coming up and stuff like that. Big Al is going to be taking about a month or two off because we're selling the house, so we're moving abroad. So I'm not going to tell you where we're going until I get to that destination. Yes, but also check out all the audio shows that are on Spotify. A lot of great shows on Spotify. The audio shows, we just have a great time with our artists, just like back in the day on the TV show where anything goes. I think I just saw a big dog walk by. What the hell was that? But anyways, thank you, every one of you. And I got a list here of people, great people I need to thank that help these artists out to get their music out there all around the world as I get their story and their music out all over the world. So let me go down this list of wonderful people that help these artists and musicians out. All right, let's start. Sandra, you know you're out there from De La Parra Entertainment, Andrea Hall Music Management, Blindfolded International Management, Legion Entertainment, Round the Clock PR, SBM Global Media, the Sound Lab, and of course, Curtain Call Records has joined us. Welcome all of you to the No Cover TV family. It's about getting these artists' music and story out there around the world. We got to do it. We're in a lot of countries too, and some of them I can't even pronounce. And that's pretty bad. What city school will do to you? Oh, yeah, I'm not even going down that road. We're not going down that road. So anyways, people, you know what I got to do next? What's my three favorite words? They're scrolling right down at the bottom there. Support, support, support. Support these artists. Go to their shows, pay a cover charge if there is one. Get to their swag table. Get a CD, an album, a hoodie, t-shirt, coffee mug, keychain, bumper sticker. It goes on and on. Just pack up your duffel bag or whatever you got, backpack, and fill it up. Get to that stage and enjoy that show. See if you can stick around afterwards. Meet these awesome artists. Get an autograph, because in my book, all of them will go straight to the top. And remember, most of all, these artists love doing what they're doing to put a smile on your face. Your smile kicks back to them, puts a big old grin, a smile on their face sometimes. Right, Greg? Can I get one? There.
Okay.
There it is, right there. So in the house from BlackTop Gypzy is Greg. How you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and this is real familiar. You're just a few hours from me. We're both in the same state, Michigan.
Well, we're based out of Michigan. I'm on a hiatus for the past year in New Hampshire and heading back in August.
You're heading back in August, so you took a hiatus in New Hampshire, huh? So now you want to come back?
Yeah. We were out here. My son plays sports. He was out here playing hockey, so we came out
Oh,
here with him, and so we'll be back in August. I mean, I've been back and forth, getting in the studio and doing work, but
right on.
yeah,
Okay,
living here.
living abroad. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about everything, I guess, and that because I got some questions on that I need to ask. But I don't know if you've even watched any of the interviews before, Greg. Have you?
Oh yeah.
Oh
I've
yeah,
checked
he
a few
says,
out.
oh. So you know it's headed your way. You know I'm going to pick on you a little bit, and we're going to go here and go there. All right. So you going to let me get inside that head of yours and figure some things out?
Sure.
Sure. All right, my friend. You open the door. Here we go. All right. Well, Greg, I like to take the artist. I don't want to talk about music right at the moment. I want to talk about you. I want to know about you. Now, we look like we're probably around the same age group, getting up there. But anyways, I'm thinking, you started at an early age, and I want to go around 8 to 10 years old when, we're listening to what our parents are listening to, siblings, if we have older siblings, aunt, uncles, cousins, whatever. At that age, Greg, what were you listening to? What were you grabbing onto?
Well, when I was really young, I guess probably Elvis.
Hey, there we
Yeah.
go.
Elvis was big, right?
He was a king, man. Oh yeah.
Elvis was big, and I spent a lot of times at bluegrass shows with my grandparents.
No, that's
They,
cool.
they used to drag me to local bluegrass shows quite a bit, so that was always
That would be really fun. Bluegrass shows. I just got dragged to watch Lawrence Welk every Tuesday evening, I think it was. But I gotta, say I love big band music now. I do appreciate it. So,
there you
all
go.
right. So bluegrass, you got dragged to that. but you're listening to the radio. You're kind of liking some different things now in that era, the '70s and stuff like that. What were you liking?
Well, I mean, the 70s, gosh, Led Zeppelin, that kind of stuff is just fantastic music. In my opinion, probably the best time for music.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
you know,
oh yeah.
late 70s, the just straight up classic rock.
Oh, it was great stuff. It was. So now, okay, you're listening to a little bit of everything because the '70s threw everything. Now, did you grow up in Michigan, Detroit area?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you got to grow up in Motown, the wonderful city of
I,
Motown.
I did. We're all Bob Seger fans for sure.
Great, he's great. I'm good friends with Robin Robbins, and yeah, great stuff, great stuff. But yeah, I mean, now, yeah, how do I want to go here? Because there's just so much we could talk about. Tell me when you picked up your first instrument, and what was it?
Well, that would have been the guitar. Um, you know, my grandfather always played bluegrass, played his guitar, and
Nice.
so it was a rite of passage. Every child in the family had to learn a G chord on his guitar, and until you got it right, which took a while. But I guess what really got me into it, like most most guys that started playing guitar and wanting to be in bands during those years, was probably jamming out the Kiss albums. You know,
Yeah, I was one of them. Most definitely. Now, I'm going to throw this question out there, but you can kind of bypass the answer. Did you start playing a guitar for all the reasons the rest of us got a guitar?
for girls.
You,
Yeah.
how'd that work for you? I failed.
Well, I didn't meet many, but I met one that was way out of my league, and I held on. I didn't let her go. So
Say, why do I have a feeling there's a song somewhere about her? That's great. Okay. All right. So we're getting a little older in our teen years. Now, what year was that? I mean, how old were you when you started playing the guitar?
well, really started playing it. Probably 13 or so, if I had to
Sure.
guess. I mean,
Right.
I tinkered around before that, but I actually started trying to play it. And I I say that embarrassingly because, I should be a whole lot better than I am for the number of years invested. Um, so I'm a little ashamed of that.
Right. Well, yeah, I agree. I picked mine up at 12 and didn't figure it out till I was 18. So, yeah. Uh, so, um, okay. Well, when did you play in a band by chance when you were in school, when you were young? Did you try
Yeah,
that?
yeah, high school, did the bands. It was, I guess, mid 80s when I, got my first real band. And that was fun. We were kids, right? And our parents would have to take us to our shows, and we'd play like the Token Lounge and places like
Oh, the
that.
token, right on.
Yeah. Yeah, so by
That's
the time we were, I don't know, about 16, we were starting to play out in bars and stuff like that.
okay. Did you stick to mostly covers or throw some originals in there? What'd you do?
We would always try to slip an original in. The bar owners didn't really care for that too
No, no, they
much.
did not really. Turn
Um,
sound down.
yeah, yeah, we tried to, for the most part, stick to the stuff that was pretty cool at the time, the Motley Crues and Poison and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, great eras. I mean, we got to experience the '70s, then the '80s hit us. It was like that just slapped the hell out of us. That was definitely an eye opener. The '80s music when it came.
Yeah, I had better hair in those days.
You, me too, my friend. I miss my hair now. But those were many moons ago when we had hair. Now, let's take you back early '80s and you're playing music. Did you have a pair of spandex pants you used to wear? Come
I,
on.
I, I think the phone's breaking up.
Yeah, right. I can't hear
I can hear you.
you.
Um, well, yes and no. I mean, on top of it, we were broke and poor, right? So
Right. You're a musician,
I don't
yeah.
know that I could afford real spandex pants, but I might have had some colorful pants from stretchy pants from like workout clothes and stuff like that that
Right
I
off
thought might
bottle.
that I thought might look cool on stage.
That's great. Oh my, oh my. Okay, now, all right,
Pretty bad.
let's pretty bad. Yeah, we thought it was cool back then, but now to look back, it's like, oh, ouch. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see
Mhm.
myself going out to any concerts wearing parachute pants anytime soon.
It hurts to get beat up now, brother. It really does. That's funny. All right, well, let's jump ahead here. Okay, we're having fun in our teen years, playing in bands and stuff. But 18 hits, so we got to grow up real quick and get a damn job, go to college, get married, have a family, whatever. Did you put the guitar down and just go to college, start life? What, or did you keep playing
Yeah,
behind the
I,
scenes?
I did. I put it down. I met who's my wife in high school there at the end of school, my senior year, and that became pretty serious to me. So I said, well, all those conversations of how we're all going to take off and go out to LA and become rock
Hi.
stars. Yeah, I'm not going to do that, guys. So, I kind of I went MIA for about a decade, because with little kids and, trying to
Yeah.
buy a house and do what you need to do, there was no time for me,
Yeah, it's a big commitment to be in the music business, and plus, if you have a family to juggle family, a full time job, and try to do music, sometimes it just doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, no, that's pretty rough. I mean, I always had a guitar around and I always tinker around when I could, but yeah, there was no time to dedicate.
Right, exactly. I want to throw this question at you. Do you remember the first guitar you had, and do you still have it?
I don't have it. Um, and to be honest, I'm trying to think back. I don't even think there was a name on the headstock. I don't know where that thing came from,
Build
but
yourself an air guitar.
even when it was in tune, it was out of tune, if you know what I mean.
Right. We just looked good. We played great air guitar back then, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And then I upgraded from that to it was like what was it? A Hondo, like a Flying V
I
style.
remember those. I
That
know.
that was me coming up.
Right, stepping on up. Oh, yes, brother. Oh, my. Okay. So, all right, we get past these years. When did you decide to form BlackTop Gypsy?
Well, that came about probably about a year and a half ago.
Oh, really? That's
Uh,
soon. Okay.
yeah, it wasn't. It hasn't been around that long. So the lead guitar player, uh, Jim Winstrand, and I are real good friends, and we would tinker around here and there, and didn't really have a band per se. We would just talk music and
Right.
sit and play around, and he tries to teach me stuff on the guitar.
Right,
He's,
right.
he's he's far more educated when it comes to the guitar than I am. Um, I was probably just more worried about my hair back in those days, where he was actually practicing. Um, so So he decided, he wanted to open his own studio and start doing some producing over time, and get that going. So he started investing in his studio gear, and he ended up starting Herbert Street Productions. They're in
Nice.
West, and we said, well, you got to learn all the software. It's different. now, right? Back when we were recording, we were on little 4-track recorders and ping ponging tracks
A
around.
little task cam, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe somebody had an 8-track, but most of it was all on 4 tracks and cassettes. So,
That's
um,
what's up.
he had to really dig into the software and learn that. So he said, "Well, if we're doing that, we might as well just record some songs, and
Yeah, what the hell?
instead of learning other people's songs to record and just tinker around with, I always have a few songs that I'm working on or writing on. So we started writing songs and recording them as practice, and some of the stuff we liked pretty good, and said, you know what, maybe we should go ahead and put this stuff out,
Yeah,
you
well,
know, and that's kind of where we started at.
okay, because I'm glad you did put it out. I mean, what I'm listening to is just great, my friend. I love your music.
Well, thank you.
Awesome, my friend. So, okay, BlackTop Gypsy starts a year and a half ago, and this is a friend that you've been friends with for years.
Oh yeah, yeah, quite a few
Okay,
years.
okay. Any more members to the band?
Yeah, we've got TJ putting down most of the bass lines for us, and once I get back to Michigan, we need to get on a hunt for a drummer and see if we can't get out and let people hear this and play it live.
Right on. Definitely, you got to get back to that token lounge.
Well, I don't know about the token. Gosh, I played there wasn't that long. Well, I say not that long ago. It was probably 10 years ago. Um, and I swear, I still think I had to pay to play there. So,
I bet you did. Man, we didn't make no, we don't make money in this business. My goodness. Okay.
well, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. We didn't actually pay to play, but by the time we paid for gas, we did.
You're right, right. One way or another, you're paying.
That's right.
That's funny. Okay. All right. So now, I'm listening to the music, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes and stuff. But are you playing out in New Hampshire with your music, or are we just recording it and getting it out on the platforms for now?
Yeah, just getting it out on the platforms. I think we put out 10 over the last year, and we got, I think, five right now that are 50, 75% done, getting close to actually starting to mix them down and
Okay.
fine tuning them and mastering them. So those we'll probably have 4 or 5 more here fairly soon.
Okay.
Um, we were supposed to be working on that. I was just in Michigan a couple days ago, and we were supposed to work on that. And a guy was coming into the studio to do some recording that Jim's been working with, and a guy by the name of Zach Gore. And he splits his time between Michigan and Nashville. He
Oh,
gigs
okay.
down in Nashville a lot, and he's a
Sure.
songwriter. And
Okay.
played a little piece of a new song that I had started working on, and he really liked that and latched onto it. So we ended up sitting there writing a new song and recording it. And so
Sweet.
we're going to have a couple songs with him featured as on the vocals and singing them with us.
Yeah,
So
that's real cool. That's real cool.
yeah.
So now when you come back to Michigan, are we going to try to put the full band together and get out and play, or are you going to split that up and maybe possibly do some solo stuff and the band, or what you going to do?
Well, my goal my goal is to get the full band together, and
Right.
actually play some shows. Now, I'm getting a little bit older, so I might be a little bit pickier as to the shows that I play. I'm n- I'm not interested in hauling my lighting gear out and the PA system and all those things. So they would have to be the right shows.
Right on.
Now, I do intend once I get back to some of the songs are pretty cut and dry. I could do them acoustically pretty
Sure.
straightforward, and some of the others I might have to work on the arrangements a little bit. And
Okay.
so, I might do some of the smaller coffee shop, kind of
Good as
acoustic gigs
well.
myself, just
Yeah.
to get out and play the stuff and let people hear it.
It's also just it's a different avenue to go down and get your music out. You know, most of the people in the coffee shop aren't going to show up to the bigger shows. You know, they're kind of isolated. So yeah, it gets it out abroad. Definitely, I like that idea.
Yeah, and our music, we struggle with, how do we brand this? How do we put this to a genre? Anyways, because a lot of the stuff, my words are, could be interpreted as, borderline country music. It's almost,
Yeah,
I guess the closest thing I can come to is kind of a heartland rock. If you think back to the Bob Seger years, stuff like that, but somewhere
right.
between there and southern rock. I'm like a huge Allman Brothers fan, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know how you label their genre either, right? Because
Well,
they did a
I
little bit
was
of everything.
yeah. Well, I'd say you're Americana rock and roll with an
There you
outlaw
go.
country edge.
Yeah, so I could easily, if I just sat down with an acoustic guitar by myself and played a lot of our songs, they're very close to, could be considered a country song.
There you go.
Um, a couple others are a little more rock focused, and I would have to work on the arrangements to do that acoustically. But
Isn't it funny? Some of the songs we grew up with, like "Knock Knock on Heaven's Door," got turned into a metal song by Guns N' Roses. So actually, you could take those mellow songs and just add that reverb and go ahead and kick it in, I guess, and make it rock and roll.
yeah, we used to cover that one a lot back in the day.
It was easy. I like those
It
three chord
was,
songs.
it was, and but people dug it, so we played it. But yeah, so once I get back and get settled back in, I'll very likely be doing some of that stuff by myself, just because it's just a lot easier, carry a guitar and a microphone versus working with everybody's work schedules and getting together and rehearsing prior to a show, making sure everything's tight, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. There's always those pieces to put together till we get to that show, and then you just never know what's
Right.
going to happen when you plug in and go. Oh boy, yeah. So now, when you guys do, we get back together and we're playing out, and I'm going to hit you again on this. Are you going to cover a couple cover songs throughout your originals?
Um, well, we have talked about it. I mean, there would always be one, for sure.
Okay.
Um, because I always like to end a show, very upbeat, something very recognizable. But
Okay.
I want to play things I don't necessarily hear people playing all the time. So for us, like if I had the right harmonica player that was around and available, maybe do a Detroit breakdown or
There we
something
go.
like that would be the cover that we would throw in for the night, close or something.
And what about that guy way in the back that's always yelling "Freebird"?
Yeah. I could I could always play a couple bars if I needed to.
I got a guitar to throw at the guy. That's for sure. Oh, don't do that. No. All right, let's continue on, my friend. Okay. Now, I'm loving what I'm hearing. And now you put out two EPs, it looks like, from what I'm seeing. Country Strong and the new one, Dreamer.
Dreamer, yeah.
And that's the
And
new
it
one.
and we had a couple singles that we released in between. We were kind of going back and forth. Do we wait and put 4 or 5 out at a time? And then you get a big gap of time before the next 4 or 5. So
That's
we
right.
said, well, maybe that was too long. Let's go ahead and release this one. We got done. Let's go ahead and release it. Um, I guess that's the upside to the internet and streaming, right? You kind of
Yeah.
you kind of put things out,
Yeah.
whenever. So
Right. And most people they'll do the singles, wait till they get to the 8 to 12, then put the EP out or whatever. Yeah. And since you brought it up, what do you think of the times now where it's a couple pushes of the button and it's all over the world, to where in our day we had to pop a trunk, pass out the cassettes, put up the posters on the poles, and beat each other up to be number one?
well, I'm conflicted and torn by it. Right?
Me too.
Um, on the surface, you would think it's easier to get people to hear your music. But it's still really tough. It's still really hard. Even if you've got good music, it's hard. And there's millions of people around the world that would certainly like that song if they
Yeah,
only heard it.
if they can hear it.
So, and being a little bit older, it's tougher, because your friends and the people that know you, they don't really get algorithms and how YouTube decides when to place your song, and suggest it to people. Where the young kids, they'll put it out and all their friends share it and all their friends share it, and
Yeah,
they get a lot of traction.
right. Well, when they never put their cell phones or tablets down, I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know how they see where they walk half the time.
Right. So so in some ways it's really easy to do, right? And you can put it
Yeah,
out there, and you look at the stats and you're like, wow, we got people, and we're getting listens over in Europe and England and wherever, Germany, and so you're reaching people all over the world, which is fantastic.
yeah, it's cool.
Um, but to get a lot of streams and to get a lot of people interested, it's still a tough thing to do.
It's interesting to say the least. Oh, brother. Before we get any farther, Greg, can you tell everybody out there where they can find you, your music, and where you're going to be playing wherever you are?
Yeah, yeah, all the major streaming services, the Spotify's, the YouTube, the Amazon Music, iTunes, all that stuff. Obviously we're on you know, Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff.
Everything. That's funny.
You know,
Oh,
yeah,
incredible.
YouTube, I think is probably where we pick up our most listens. It's a pretty
That's
popular
good. Yeah.
platform.
Yeah. I like YouTube. I definitely check out a lot of things on YouTube myself. Now, you said, isn't it your friend Jim that started the studio grabbing gear over the years?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay. Did he happen to grab any analog gear to add to the studio?
yeah. There's some preamps and compressors, and he he's a guitar player, so there's a lot of really nice guitar amps and guitars.
Oh, wow. I want to meet Jim. That's
So
great.
yeah, he definitely. Sorry, I'm bouncing my phone around here a little bit. I'm holding it
That's all
in my
right.
hand, but yeah,
I'm gonna grab it.
definitely some bougie guitars and amps to play around with.
Wow, that's incredible. How many guitars you got?
What do I got? One, two. I've got four right now. I think four. I've thinned it down a little bit.
The same here.
I've thinned it down a little bit.
Okay, all right, good. And now, I'm looking around, and you do have quite a few fans that love what you do. What do you think of that, brother?
It's pretty, yeah. What are you gonna say? Like, you work hard at it, so I don't want to say that I'm completely shocked. I mean, the effort's there, but it. I'm pretty humbled by it for sure.
Right on. Well, that's cool, man. Now, when you do get back home here to Michigan and stuff, and you get the band going and stuff, you play out a little bit here in Michigan. Do you want to head out and do like a tri-state tour, possibly with the band?
I would love to, if the circumstances are right, it's the right shows and the timing's right. Again, you're the other complication to all this is, you want to play with pro level players. You want to be able to do a good job, and if you're not gigging a ton, that takes the guys out of it that are doing it full time. So
Right.
then you get into managing everybody's work schedules and life schedules, and
It's
you
hard.
know and when you're adults, right, and you got mortgages and things like that, so I would love to, if we could get the right shows and the circumstances and
Sure.
the timing to line up.
Well, good deal. Let me throw this at you. In all the years you've played on and off, biggest crowd you played in front of?
For me, gosh, probably about, I think about 3,000.
Well, that's a good number. I like that number. Nice round number. Good. Okay.
Yeah,
And
people. I feel bad, like my son-in-law plays in bands and plays metal music, and and they don't have places like we had with Harpo's and stuff like that where just local bands could go play. I mean, we played there. Gosh, it was, I don't know, like a Thursday night
Oh,
with
sure. Oh, yeah.
3 other bands, and there was like 3,000 people there.
Yeah, I remember booking back in the day. Every weekday, we packed the house. Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't have to be a Friday or Saturday. No, every weekday. Oh yeah, but then COVID came around, and that really hurt a lot of establishments, closed them, and it hurt a lot of the artists too. Definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's very sad. But I think it's starting to come around. I think it is, and I see there's still jerking everybody at the door still, on cover and pay and play and all that crap. Urgh. I hate that.
Yeah.
What it is, what it is. Okay, you don't go into this business to make $1 million overnight. No,
No, no. Well,
no, still
for
waiting.
us, for this music, it was just, we play music anyways. We like playing music, and to stay focused and to stay motivated, you kind of got to have a goal. You got to have something you're
Yeah,
working towards.
great.
So we decided, let's give ourselves something to work towards, and that motivates us to keep going.
Right on, right on. Well, I'm going to hold something up here that you're working towards, and I like it.
Yeah,
I see you're a finalist, aren't you?
we are. I was pretty shocked by that.
That's awesome, my friend. And I would say you got my vote, but it's already over with. And I made it too, thank goodness. But who knows?
You
It's not
did?
about the yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. We'll see if what happens. A lot of great people, a lot of great people there.
Oh, there's some of that music is just, it's fantastic. It's
It's
really
fantastic.
it's
It's real good stuff there. Now, do you have anybody helping you with your music, doing PR, or are you just doing everything?
I do. I Jim handles most of the studio work and the fine tuning and uh,
Okay.
all the EQ and mixing, and then and I spend my hours sending out emails, trying to get on playlists. It, a lot of hours, right? It
It's,
just the hours
yeah.
disappear. And yeah, I I understand why people pay companies to do it and why they charge so much to do it, because it is it's a lot of work.
Pain in the butt. Yes, it is.
It is. And then, I'm just now getting to the point, after like the last year and a half, you know, kind of learning it, right? And learning the new system and the way things are done now. And, you know, starting to now get down to what was successful and what wasn't,
Right.
and that saves a lot of time, right? I can
Sure.
cut out a lot of the other stuff. Like it trying to get on Spotify playlists, and I've submitted to a million of them and been added to a lot. And then you look at it and you go, yeah, well, those don't get you any streams. That was a
Right.
lot of wasted time.
Right. A lot of pushing fingers for no reason. That's
Yeah,
funny.
you're like, okay, I'm on 200 playlists and I got 6 streams from it. So
Right.
focusing more on the song pitches to try to get on the actual Spotify playlist. Their curated playlists where you would get
Yeah.
streams.
Right.
So I'm now spending more time on that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, good. Get it out there, my friends. Great music, and let's talk about a couple songs here. I mean, I want to talk about "Country Strong." I like that a lot, brother. Where'd that come from?
Well, I don't know. I was thinking around one day playing my guitar, and I kind of came up with the chorus. And honestly, originally when I came up with it, I wasn't even going to do a whole song. I was laughing with Jim one day, and I said, "Hey, I got this little hook, and I got to figure out how to sell this as a commercial because I think this would be great in like a pickup truck commercial or
There
something."
you go, right on.
Um, and I don't know. It's probably a few weeks later. He said, that thing you sang me the other day that you played." He goes, I got that was kind of stuck in my head for days. We should probably do something with that. And
Right on.
that's kind of where it came from. Yeah.
Yeah, it turned out great. I love that. Now, the next one I love is Lost Souls. I mean, that's a great ballad. Isn't that about, life on the street and stuff?
It is. I was that was one I was kind of picturing the video in my head, right? And it started out, about people, I talked about going out to LA when we were young, we were going to go hit it big, or if somebody goes to
Yeah.
Nashville, and you kind of go to the cities and think you're going to make your mark, and it doesn't always work out great, and
No.
so it's kind of about the people that lose in that gamble, right?
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of people that take that gamble, and bless their hearts to the ones that do make it and hang in there, definitely. And yeah, it is tough. It is difficult, very difficult. And then the other song, What's Up? I like that.
Yeah.
That was
Um,
cool.
yeah, that one was kind of my attempt at a follow up to being in the same vein with Country Strong.
Okay.
Kind of teetering on the edge of a country song,
Yeah,
but I wanted it to have some kick to it and some rock to
right
it.
on. Yeah, no, you did a good job. Very good job. I love the name. What's Up? I like that. That's great. And I'm just looking at the screen. BlackTop Gypsy. Where'd this name come from?
Out of thin air, really. Um,
You didn't
just,
have to think too long.
just what were we going to call it? And somehow Blacktop Gypsy came up, and I said, well, maybe we'll throw a Z. Let's just make it different and difficult.
Yeah, difficult.
In the end, everybody just misspells it, but
You're right. That's great. Okay. All right. Great. Now it's time to hit you with the fun questions. All right. So we can dig in and see what answers we can get out of you. All right.
all right.
Let's do this. Where do I start light or do I hit you hard? I'll start a little light. All right. You get two answers on this one. These are people. Person that's alive, person that's passed away. Since you were a kid to now, Greg, who have you always wanted to step on stage with and rock out with?
Well, who I would love to if I had the guts to do it. Greg Allman,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
and even just be on stage during a show, I'd have to say Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, yes, indeed,
Even
indeed, my friend.
even if I was just standing there to watch, right? But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd be bowing down left and right. Yeah, oh, yes. I still have his album, and it skips quite a bit now because it got played a lot.
sure.
Those are great. Those are great answers there. Now, when you do get up on the stage to play, do we still have any pre jitters or nervousness at all?
I do.
Do
I do.
you?
I
Really?
do. Uh, you know, I, and I don't know if I want it to go away. Like that,
Right, right.
that's part of the excitement of it. You
It
know,
is. It is.
there's a million things that can go wrong, and you're relying on other people, and
Yeah.
eh, but when it works, and you'll be in a show and you're playing, and you can feel every once in a while you'll kind of just feel yourself drop into the pocket, right? The band
Oh,
was,
yeah, yeah. The groove.
and
Oh, yeah.
and all of a sudden you're just floating on a cloud, right? And yeah, those moments are pretty special. But
There.
I don't know if you appreciate them fully if you don't have the chaos and the anxiety, and
Yeah, I will agree with that. I will agree with that. I get a little bit, but not much. It's just to expect, and I always expect the worst to happen, and when it doesn't, yay, thank you. So,
yeah, I mean it's not it's not like it was, the first time you do it where you got to drink a pint of Jack Daniels before you can go out, right? Like
right,
I don't have those kind of issues anymore.
right,
Um,
right.
and I can I can actually talk between songs, and
You're right. Compose yourself. Exactly.
you
Uh,
know, you know,
all right. All
holler for
right.
somebody to bring me a beer or something, please. But so when you're young, you get nervous to the point you can't. You're just frozen in fear. It's not like that.
No. Well, that's good. You got that point past that point. Now, on this next question, I'm going to let you have two answers on this one, and we're going to think around the world. And what two stages anywhere in the world would you like the band to perform on?
Well, two. I get to pick two. All right.
Well, it's your show.
Well,
You can name as many as you want.
let's go with the Hollywood Bowl,
Hey. Whoa.
and I guess I could play any place. Austin City Limits.
There we go. I haven't heard that one yet. Nice. I like that. Yeah. All
some
right.
of the best shows I've ever seen have been watching Austin City Limits. So
Right on. I agree with you. And the big one, too, I always get is Red Rocks. So I think that would be a good one, too.
I mean, if I could go back and play Cobo Hall back in the day, that would probably be pretty cool too.
Yeah. Back in the day. Where we could drink the Jack Daniels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, man. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. All right, let's go to that show where we're in front of 3,000 people. Okay. Now, when you first hit the stage and you got these 3,000 people out there and you hit that first chord, you guys start playing, the crowd turns around and goes, "Hey, what the hell's this going on?" And they will move towards the stage as a wave and they start swinging and swaying. They might dance, they might mosh. I don't know what these kids do anymore. But most of all, you might see them singing your songs back to you, brother. And if you see any of this out there, how does it hit you in your heart and make you feel?
Oh wow. If yeah, I don't think anybody's going to mosh pit to us, but
I'll be the
uh,
first.
when it is a pretty good feeling when somebody actually knows the words to your song.
It is cool.
You know, I guess it doesn't get any better than that. So, I that would be a pretty proud, pretty happy moment for sure.
Yeah. And you remember each and every one of those moments. You don't forget them. That's for sure. You
Not
know,
those, no.
they stick in that heart. Oh yeah, it's a great thing. So keep doing that, folks. Keep singing our songs to us. We want to hear it. Definitely. That's great. All right, let's throw this question out there, and I want you to be upfront and honest. Since you've been doing this a long time, and this happens to all my rock, metal, heavy metal bands, but this might have happened to you, Greg. Any embarrassing moments you want to talk about
Any embarrassing moments?
on stage?
How long is the show again? How long?
It's as long as you want, my friend. I'm here all night.
Uh, well, let's see. Um, yeah, we played. I was in a band one time. We played at a dance at a Catholic high school, Cabrini High School.
Holy.
Uh, yeah, and I took a left turn at a change on my bass one night, and I don't know what song I was playing. I got some pretty odd looks from the guitar player until I could
Mhm.
jump back in. So that was not a good moment. That's hard to that's hard to recover and enjoy a show after that. Let's see. I had my strap, the screw come out of my strap button on my bass one night.
No, no.
Um, yeah, and I had to play like the three songs like on one knee.
I love it when the strap breaks and you boom, it's down. It's like, come on, get back up here.
Yeah, so that was rough. And then one night at the Token Lounge, they had like a little hole in the stage, like a dip or something, and they had like a rug over it.
Oh
And
no.
I was backing up, and I came real close to losing it. Uh,
Oh.
so I don't know how noticeable it was to anybody else, but I almost fell into the drum kit. So I was I was pretty embarrassed by it. Nobody
You
really
know,
said anything, so either they were being nice or it wasn't that noticeable. But
right, it'd be a nice. I've seen them many fall in the drum kits, and I love it. I think it's just hilarious because the show has got to go on. You got to pick yourself up, your gear up, and you got to continue no matter what.
yeah, I mean, in those days, I would have probably just trashed the rest of the stage and act like it was part of the show. But
There you go. See, they would have believed that back then. Now they're wondering, are you crazy or what is going on here? We don't do
yeah,
that. Gear's too expensive now to destroy. Unbelievable.
yeah, but nothing too bad. Mm, Not too bad. I mean, we've all forgotten the words and had to sing the third verse the same as the first or whatever. But
Right. Oh, that's great. Now, when you were younger, did you ever take a chance and throw the guitar around the neck like Stevie Vai?
no, I wanted to. I thought about it a lot, but um, I didn't have any money, so
Right, right. Crash and burn is not pretty.
no, no, goodness, no. So yeah, I couldn't afford any mishaps like that.
I agree with you. I agree, my friend. I don't know how Stevie did it, man. He's whipped that thing around, but he can afford it.
He
That's
could afford it.
afford it. Now, listening to your music and stuff, are you doing or going to do any collaborations with any other artists, any ISSA members possibly on your music? Are you on them?
That is the goal. That's the plan. Like I said, we've got a couple right now with Zach that we're doing, and he's going to be a featured artist. I
Nice.
think he might be an ISA member. And then I've talked to a couple folks on there and messaged back and forth. Nothing, the rubber hasn't hit the road yet, but that's the goal
Yeah,
for sure.
good, good. Because there are a lot of great people to hook up there and do a lot of great collaborations. Well, most of, excuse me,
Oh,
my friend, definitely. Now, are you getting your music out on any internet radio stations? You doing some podcasts, things like that?
well, this is the first podcast I've done. Um, and I apologize. I know we've had some scheduling difficulties, so I'm sorry for that.
Oh, it's all right.
Um,
It's life.
and yeah, so there's a couple internet stations that have started playing our stuff, and was it 512 Rocks in Michigan? It's a
Okay, yeah.
it's a Michigan-based station, and they'll play um, I think it's every Monday. They'll play like three tracks from local Michigan
Okay.
people.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see, once you get back home and you get the band going and stuff, I can see you guys knocking down some doors pretty fast, definitely. Oh, yeah,
yeah.
most
I,
definitely.
I hope so. That's the goal.
Definitely. You just keep going, my friend. Keep going. Greg, I've had a wonderful time with our interview today. I don't want it to end, and we're already at 48 minutes. I can't believe that. Wow, that went quick.
It did.
My goodness. And there's more I want to talk about, but we'll save that for another day, okay? I won't throw you under the bus all the way. A couple other questions before we get out of here, my friend. First of all, tell everybody again where they can find your music.
Uh, on any of the streaming platforms,
That's
really.
right. BlackTop Gypsy.
Yeah, Blacktop Gypsy with a Z
With
in
the Z,
Gypsy.
don't forget the Z, people.
Gypsy.
Just like it sounds, Gyp Z. Z. That's what it's supposed to be spelled. Somebody screwed it up, I think. All right. Well,
Yeah.
these last two questions, my friend. When you get back to Michigan, band's back together, doing good. What would be the 5-year goal for the band? Just 5 years. Where would you like to see yourselves in 5 years? Once you get it going.
You know, I don't have any lofty goals for the band other than I just want to keep writing, keep putting the stuff out. You know, I want to keep finding people to feature and collab with.
Right.
Um, you know, wouldn't be opposed to selling some songs and focusing on songwriting some as well.
There you go.
Uh, so I mean that's one of my goals at least.
Right on.
To
And
become
did
established
you
as a songwriter.
Sure. Have you ever thought about writing for other artists and selling your songs?
Well, I've got plenty for sale if you know anybody buying.
Well, I'm Nashville up for that, but that's another
Right.
road you can go down.
But you know, I keep writing, and you know, you learn every song you write. You know, you take lessons learned, and so hopefully the songs are getting better, the production's
Well,
getting better, every one we release, and you know, and we'll see if it turns into something from a songwriting perspective as well. So
okay. Yeah. Now, before we get out of here, Greg, this last question: did you say you have children?
I do,
You
I
do.
do.
Young, old, where are we at?
Oh, I've got two. Well, I guess technically they're kind of all grown now. I've got three, um, and I've got four grandkids. So
Oh, so there we go. All right.
my
Well,
my uh, my youngest was a senior in high school this year. So
senior in
we're
high school.
wrapping we're
Oh,
wrapping it up.
yeah, wrapping. Wow, big year, senior. Okay. Well, my question is for the youngsters. You got any advice for these kids out there that want to do what me and you do?
Well, sure, do it because you like doing it and you love doing it. And if nothing else comes of it, you've picked up a really good hobby and giving yourself constructive things to do in life. Um,
Exactly.
if,
Exactly. Definitely.
if you're chasing money, maybe maybe not. You might get lucky, but um,
Right.
do do it because you like to do it.
Right on. Believe in yourself. Do what you want to do, and don't listen to everybody behind you saying this, that, and the other thing. Just do your thing. And dreams do come true, don't they? Oh, yeah, they do.
You know, some people do make it. It might as well be me. It might as well be
That's
you. You know,
right.
so somebody somebody's got to get rich at this. But if nothing else, like I say, you know, you can spend a lifetime, you know, learning and getting better at an instrument. And you know, I always tell people, I'm never bored. I've never been bored. It's not possible for me to get bored. When there's nothing going on, I pick up my guitar.
Exactly, brother. Me too,
So
my friend.
people say they're bored. I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm like, get a better hobby, man. I've never been bored.
You're right. It's about, yeah, get off your ass and get a hobby. Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty easy, pretty simple, straightforward.
Yep. So, you know, I think if you go into it and just say, you know, this is what I love to do, and you know, at a minimum, you're going to come out of it with a hobby that you'll do for the rest of your life, and
I agree. I
you know, and
totally
someday you'll make enough money to have an expensive guitar collection. And
You're right. Hopefully, exactly. Don't go overboard because you can. You know, you get that '57 Gibson. Oh yeah. So right, I can buy a house with that right now. Oh my goodness, unbelievable. Greg, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on the No Cover TV podcast. I had a lot of fun, and I'd like to see you back in a year when you get back to Michigan. But I won't be in Michigan. I'll be around the world. But we'll talk. Oh yes, we will. We'll do it again.
it'd be great. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you, my friend. This is your show. Anybody out there you want to say hey, hi to, or anything?
I Hey to everybody.
Hey, everybody, there you go.
Hey
All
to
right.
everybody.
Hey, Greg saying hey from BlackTop Gypz. All right, Greg, we're going to get out of here. So, what we do at the end of the show is just say, peace, we're out of here. See
Peace.
ya.